here today. All right, it looks like we are live. So I want to do a quick intro to who we've got here today. We got the RHO YouTube crew, right? I'm sure there's more out there, but we got a few of us here to at least talk about experiences, good, bad, and different, and kind of why we're here today. I figure I'll give a little intro. Start with Rocky. You're up in my upper right-hand corner.
Yep, I'm Rocky RHO from Victoria, Texas. My channel is Rocky RHO. Check it out.
Excellent. Mr. Tim?
I'm small channel on YouTube, very unknown. Live in the sticks in Nebraska with the corn. Drive a few trucks here and there. Pick a trick plus that should be talked.
Nice. Mr. John.
Hey guys, and I am TRD John. I know that's not RHO John as much as the comments I get for that, but new to the RHO experience, about month and a half ownership or so. So welcome to be here and hang out with all your guys' people too. So this should be fun.
You know, I'm just thinking, John, if you want to keep it to 3 letters, should you change it to CEL, John?
Yeah, probably now. Dude, that's when I
take long. We're only what 5 minutes, not even 2 minutes into this live stream.
To be honest, when I do that new video for the second check engine light, that's a perfect title, Barry. That's perfect.
All right, CEL John.
There we go.
Built on a Friday.
Yeah.
So I figure we could kind of start with we've all had a lot of different trucks. Obviously, John, you've been pretty specific. A lot of Toyotas, obviously, and Rocky and myself, Tim, we've all had a lot of different trucks. I think it'd be kind of fun for people to kind of understand where we just came from and what landed us in this place of picking RHO. You know, we all purchased these trucks with our hard-earned money, just like everybody else. And so people are probably wondering, like, why did we all go with the RHO? So I don't know, Rocky, feel free to jump in.
So I've always had the HDs. I've done the diesel, lots of stuff on my channel, basically Power Stroke, Duramax, Cummins, all of them. I had a bunch of half tons, a few years ago. We used to run the 5.7 Hemis and stuff like that. So I really like the Dodge platform and the Ram platform. I had a TRX temporarily back in 21, really liked it. And so moving back into the RHO, it was just one of those things, man. It's I got rid of my camper, so I didn't need that big truck anymore. And I'm really enjoying the road trips in the RHO. It's just a very comfortable, luxury, feature-rich truck with a good price point. And I think that's why I'm in it. But it gives you that sports car kind of feel on the drive. Not all the way, but, it's a real sport truck. It drives nice, and it handles nice, and it rides great. So that's my short.
Nice. Mr. Tim?
I've done mostly half tons just because of the Google SEO factor of half tons, most popular, configuration out there. I've been a journalist now. I did the math with some friends. Math is not my strong suit. So I did the math with some friends and we figured it out. This is entering my 15th year of doing journalism on automotive. And I've always done half tons and that kind of stuff. I wanted to do Ram for the first time of buying trucks. I've driven them for years. And I was going to do the Bighorn, but when the RHO came out, it's like Rocky said. I actually watched one of his videos today. It's hard to beat the value for the dollar. The RHO, you just get so much value for the dollar. When you start looking at that, then the dealerships, especially the Mark Dodge, I think a lot of us went through them, or similar dealerships like that. When you start looking at the value you get for what you get for it and the money you get for the off on it, it's hard to do anything else. It's like, I forget all the math. Was it 80 whatever? Then you took the 10 and 70. I mean, my goodness, I bought a High Country Silverado for 67, I think, the 2 years before. And so for $3,000 more, basically what turned out to be something around that round, I get this. There's no comparison.
Yep.
Like, it's like the High Country on steroids. I mean, the High Country doesn't even come close to what this truck has and the features and the capability of it. It's my first time ever, like, really with a sport truck. I mean, I've driven them. I've driven Raptor R's, I've driven Raptors, driven all that kind of stuff. I've driven the TRX. TRX is a great truck. It's a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it. But this truck, I think, is a better daily. I really enjoy the daily driving aspect of it. I enjoy passing the gas stations more often than I did in the TRX. And it's just such a fun truck to drive. And it is a truck that you don't worry about on a road trip. You get in and go. And it was kind of funny. I just literally saw Rocky's video about 5 minutes ago about him selling his camper, and I just bought a camper, so I'm really excited about having a camper and towing with a camper with the RHO. So I have a little different perspective.
Yeah, if Tim, you're entering a whole new fun era of camper ownership. Gosh, you got to figure out how to be a craftsman, a plumber, a welder, an automotive mechanic.
Yes.
It's just, good Lord. I'm in the middle of a situation with my trailer right now, and it just makes me want to pull my hair out.
I think luckily I went with bumper pull. I think when I was watching your video, Rocky, not to get too off topic, but the fifth wheel camper experience has gotten outrageous. The campground spots are super expensive. Pulling with those campers is outrageous. It's just too much. I think the sweet spot still, the bumper pull, 30-foot. You still get through traffic. I drove through Chicago construction. I was still okay. It wasn't too bad. I think that's still a good aspect. But I don't want to steal John's time because John definitely has a few things to say.
CL John.
It's just funny. He's like, when Barry reached out, he's like, hey, we're going to do a live stream with Tim. And then I was like, is Tim going to let us get any words in at all? Like, for the live. But I was like, I'm just busting his balls. No, I see some of my people also commenting. So typically we do Q&As on mine, but we're just going to BS and talk and stuff. But I appreciate you guys joining in, and maybe you guys haven't seen these gentlemen's channels before, but go ahead and check them out. But yeah, mine is mainly Toyota products and stuff. And I had two third-gen Tundras before this truck. I'm a vehicle enthusiast. I love all cars, but like Toyota just happened to become my niche on YouTube. And when it was time to get another modern truck, I just asked my audience, like, do you guys want to see a third-gen Tundra to see if Toyota's fixed some things, for 2025 or 2026, like all these little nuances that just I kept seeing in these trucks. And I was at the New York Auto Show, and I showcased the F-150 Tremor, teased the Ford Raptor because for some reason they didn't have one of those there, the RHO, and then the GMC AT4X, and overwhelmingly somehow my audience just said RHO, and then once my brain starts going on something, I have to do it. So 3 months later, I went to Mark Dodge and purchased the exact RHO that I wanted because some dude backed out on a deal. And then he commented on my video. He's like, bro, I was looking at this truck and I got a black one instead. I was like, well, thank you for like leaving the finance office. I appreciate it. So I'm in the truck and I love it. And I'm not sure if it's because it's not a Toyota product or what, but it's just something new. And like Tim said, the price that I got this truck for at about $71,000 to $72,000 is the same price that I was looking at a TRD Pro Tundra at. And just the interior of the truck is just far superior. I've had 2 check engine lights right now, so we're gonna figure that out. But like the truck hasn't left me stranded. So, and it's solid. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I'm very virgin to this truck still though. And Dodge. Ram. Yeah, as I already messed up.
People will scold you.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. It's cool, like seeing someone like yourself, like Toyota, like, enthusiast coming to Ram. Like that's a big change in my mind. It's like I've had a bunch of Rams. I've had a bunch of Fords. I've actually never owned a Toyota, but I'd be open to it. Mm-hmm. And I really thought about the TRD Pro because I think there's a lot of cool things. And the Tundra, there's a lot of things about it I really like. It's just, I just keep looking at my dollar and what I get for the money. And man, it is so hard to beat. And I know everybody's got different experiences and thoughts and views, but man, I think this high output Hurricane is just about the perfect spot for performance, but yet you still get some fuel economy. It's like, would we like 700 horsepower? Absolutely. But is it going to be a 5 mile per gallon hit? And I just did the other day a loop getting 17 miles per gallon. If I had my Raptor R or TRX, that'd have been 10, 11 miles per gallon for sure.
Yeah, but and I want to jump in this last comment down here because I think there's always a question. I think, and Rocky hit on this last video too. Do you miss a Hemi in the RHO. I gotta say, I don't. People are really excited about this Hemi coming back, and it's been on the forums and stuff. I drove a Hemi for years. Rocky drove a Hemi, and the inline six is so smooth and so powerful. There's one kid who was talking. He had his little video in his little channel, and he's like, "Look at all these Rams on the lots, and he, you know, the inline sixes are here. Hemi comes back. What's Ram gonna do with these trucks? And discount these. Nobody's gonna want to buy these things." I'm like, if you drove the Hurricane versus the Hemi, I can't imagine you'd want to walk away with a Hemi unless you're counting cylinders and you care about exhaust.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, and to back that up is, you know, these RHOs are sport trucks. They come with 35s on them. They're heavier than a standard half ton. I drove a Tungsten the other day with the high output in it, and that thing ran like a rocket. And I mean, I was seeing 18 and 19 miles per gallon. You know,
wow.
Of course, it's got the little 235, whatever, you know, 265, whatever tires are on the half ton stock. But, you know, if you were to put a 5.7 Hemi in our RHO today, it would be horrible, in my opinion, in power. I mean, that inline six is very capable. And I think, as just like Tim said, as a daily, this truck, they hit the, I mean, I think you couldn't have hit it better for a daily driver with good efficiency and a good truck.
Yeah,
agree.
I mean, even though it doesn't get like insane gas mileage, when I was on the phone with Barry earlier today, just to like, you know, talk to each other before this live stream, I told them I had to go pick my wife up because she dropped off her mom's vehicle to get the AC fixed or whatever. And like, I mean, I'm blessed because I work hard. I got like 5 different vehicles in my driveway to pick from, and like I picked the RHO, and I don't know why. It's just like, again, maybe it's new, but it just, like you said, it drives like butter. I love getting into it when I can, and it sounds like if you guys have ever driven like a Supra, the Mark V Supra with the 3.0, and it really sounds like that. And with the ZF transmission, it gets those same like little farts on the upshift and stuff, which some people like, some people don't. But I'm like, I don't know, it's really, really good.
Kind of my thoughts too. It's so funny you mentioned the ZF transmission strategy, because that has been around for, I don't know. I think the SRT, whenever they came out with the SRT 864 392, like 8-10 years ago. And I remember when you'd hear that thing shift, or the Hellcat, and you'd hear that burble in between the shifts. And I'm like, oh, that sounds sweet. Mm-hmm. And it still has that in the RHO. And I love that. So I got this question highlighted. I feel like, John, you're like the perfect person to answer this. I could give my thoughts on this, but this is like right up your alley.
Yeah, so I mean, what does the RHO give you that the Tundra doesn't, and vice versa? So like, the problem with the Tundra, and this is just Toyota in general, is one, they don't let you order, like specifically order vehicles. And the Tundra is essentially like a mono spec for the price. You can't get it cheaper. Like if you wanted to get the RHO at a discount at certain dealerships, right? I know it varies throughout the United States. You could get the RHO down into the 60s or spec'd out into, you know, the 80s, whereas the Tundra is middle ground, no matter what, around $75,000 plus or minus, you know, $3,000-$4,000 depending on added dealer options. But I mean, really, the RHO has everything the Tundra really offers and more, in my opinion. Like live valve suspension. It has massaging seats, which the Tundra don't have. I mean, they both have the standard CarPlays, big screens, this and that. I think the biggest thing too is customization on the dashboard as well for the RHO. I mean, you have a plethora of information on that screen, all the different sports modes, paddle shifters, storage alone. Oh my God, I know I rant about storage in my videos and people tell me that, but like, the Tundra has none because it's a hybrid powertrain, so you get no storage under the seats, no storage in the composite bed, no shelf, even though, you know, our trucks don't have shelves because of like the screens and stuff, but like there's just no storage in the truck, whereas the RHO just has so much. And heated and ventilated rear seats, our rear seats recline. I mean, my God, you get you get a lot out of it. I know Toyota hates me for just saying that, probably, if they're somehow watching this as a fly on the wall, but like that, I really think the Tundra needs to be built off like the platinum grade. And whenever they do the refresh, they really need to see the Raptor and the RHO and just finally make a actual competitor for them, because people compare that truck to them all the time, and like it's not even in the same ballpark, you know, of super truck off-road performance. It's a good truck, but it's not like at that Raptor and RHO level, in my opinion.
Does the TRD also offer heads-up display or hands-free driving? I didn't think it did, but maybe it does.
No,
it doesn't. Okay.
Yeah, no HUD, and there's no Toyota product right now that gives you hands-free driving unless you have a water bottle and you put it on your steering wheel.
Like what the Ford
people
guys
do that. Yeah.
So I think another thing, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar, in the RHO, it's not a standard travel suspension like a TRD Pro, like a Rebel, like a Tremor F-150.
Mm-hmm.
This has got extended travel for off-road use like a Ford Raptor. So a lot of people might not be familiar with that. Got a bunch of questions in here. I want to add, there was some people asking questions about the Hellcat and the 6.2. I know there's been a lot of talk if a 6.2 TRX will come out. I know Tim and I have talked about this quite a bit, and there's been a lot of speculation on this for a while. And I'm just curious if there was a 26 or 27 Ram TRX, the 6.2, say it's 720 horse, would you guys choose that over the RHO for, say, $30,000 more? Would it be worth it to you?
According to Rocky's video, he would, but I think he's got a bigger budget than I do.
Well, I'll say this. The TRX is, man, I've had the Chargers, I've had the Hellcats, I've had those cars in the past, and I absolutely love that 6.2 motor with that supercharger. And it is a fuel drinker. These two trucks, and I'm kind of glad that Ram, a lot of people are like, well, now the RHO and TRX are going to be the same. You won't be able to differentiate them, correct? But the thing is somebody with the fuel bill on a TRX, I mean, if you've had one, it's 9 miles to the gallon. It's premium fuel.
Yep.
It's expensive. I mean, I was putting $100 every 2 days in mine for my daily commute. We're like the RHO, I can go all week on a tank of fuel, right? And so it's two completely different trucks to suit two different types of people. What their daily commute is too. If you live in town and you drive 3 or 4 miles to work, not a big deal. But if it's something you're putting 100 miles a day, that TRX is going to chew through some fuel, like serious, maybe $2 or $3 grand a month. So
that's insane.
It's just kind of what people want. I'm glad there's going to be both options. But for me, I've been waiting on that TRX. Yes, the minute the 26 orders open, I want the hands-free driving. And Tim, I'll say this. I've had the hands-free driving on the GM, and I feel like I have to always have my hands under that steering wheel. I love the GM hands-free driving, don't get me wrong. But if I'm in Houston and the lane changing on it, it's a little quick and it's a little squirrely, where I feel probably 20% more confident in the hands-free driving in the RHO. It really does put me at ease whenever it's going down the interstate. So I'll let y'all talk. But
well, I've driven in Houston, and you can take Houston. I will. You can have it. My commute's about 20 feet, so I don't have the gas issues about that stuff. But I wouldn't switch just because of my business. I've had the TRX. It's been out before. It wouldn't drive the views, and my business is just business decision. That's all there is to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if I had all the money in the world, it'd be cool to hear it and stuff and drive it, but I feel like I would like the RHO maybe a little bit more, even though I haven't driven it, and a V8 is amazing, but I don't know. It's just something about turbos and just it being still refined as like a road trip vehicle. Like when I got almost 18 miles per gallon with that thing coming back from Louisiana, and I'm still averaging around 17 with it, which I don't know how, it just is. I don't know if I would want to sacrifice that just for sounds and power, and I'm sure it's great, and maybe they update the other one to be even better, but when I get out West Coast with this thing, hopefully like I plan to, I like the fact that it's a little bit lighter up front than, a heavier engine. The 0 to 60 time, if we're, counting that, is spot on with what the Hellcat engine was in that. But maybe they just swing for the fences and give us 900 horsepower truck to really separate them, because right now I think the RHO is still too close to what the TRX was. Maybe they just swing even harder and just blow the Raptor R out of the water with, just like they did with the RHO versus Raptor. Maybe it's another 100, 150 horsepower more than a Raptor R.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they keep it around 700 horse, it's not enough to entice me. But if it was 900, wow, that would be pretty exciting. I also think if I was if I was in a position where I had 2 trucks, where I could have like a truck that was my work truck for towing a trailer, I think it'd be really fun to have that TRX as that fun toy. But I use my truck towing trailers, and that's, I got the thing highlighted here. Where do you see the RHO start to struggle? I just did a 1,000-mile tow pulling an 8,500-pound travel trailer in 94-degree weather with 90+% humidity, maxed out payload, no issues at all. It was great. And I know Tim has towed his travel trailer, 2,000-3,000 miles, something like that.
Yeah, I never had an issue.
No,
Honestly, I was doing 75, and at one point I was doing 80 because I had to pee, and I didn't realize I was doing that fast. And I was like, "Oh, but slow down." But it I think Rocky said it best. It pulls like a diesel.
yeah,
It legit. I mean, it's like it's not. And this is where things get a little weird with me with diesels. Is the diesel crowd thinks about diesels? They don't think about diesels in shorter term period of time. What I'm going to say, they think about diesels as 10-year and 15-year periods of time. So diesel torque has changed in the last 5-10 years by dramatic changes, like 10,000 foot-pounds of torque, and what is it? 1,000 foot-pounds of torque was really changed.
Yeah.
So I would say this thing tows like a diesel did 5 years ago. Now today's diesels, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque with new Ram last year, yeah, that's a whole different experience. But this thing is just like a really good diesel. And is it better than it was a diesel that was back in like 2005 and 6? Those older diesels, much better than those diesels were, right? Yeah. And so, and I know people are saying, well, if you just take the emissions bullshit off, it told yeah, I get all that kind of stuff. I understand that, I get it. But I will tell you, this thing, I had the 3-liter inline 6 Duramax diesel from Chevrolet as well, and that thing towed really well too. But to me, this one's got more power. More low-end torque, it feels like, and it does by the numbers has more low-end torque. It tows so well, that it's kind of remarkable. And I started off, I was like, oh, I'll do 50, not 55. I was like, I'll do 60. So I was kind of, I was getting experience down, and we have a lot of wind out here in Nebraska, like probably West Texas, and the wind is the biggest factor with towing campers and things because you have the profile. But as I got up to like Wisconsin with the tree cover, well, I had no wind. And all of a sudden I was like, well, let's do 70, let's do 75. And the truck didn't care at all. Like in the RPMs, I think I was doing like 2,500 RPMs. And like, it didn't matter. And I didn't care at all about that. So I never had an issue. It seems like people keep wanting, not people wanting to find issues, but people are curious about there's got to be an issue. Like there's got to be something. And
come to my channel and find it out.
Yes, TL John.
John will get us covered.
I did want to tap on what Tim said real quick, just about we always say turbos are for towing, superchargers are not, right? The TRX definitely does not tow as good as this RHO. The turbocharger is great, and I'll put that same comparison. Like I've had diesels since I was 16. I just did a video about how this engine compares to a diesel, and exactly what Tim said. I think it tows better than the old 7.3 Power Stroke, to be honest with you, like in a Ford 3/4 ton, when those were out. It just, the power's there, and it's not, and I said JB did a video, and you watch his comparison between the Hemi and the Hurricane Output. Now, the Hurricane Output did do a little bit better than the Hemi, but that Hemi was sitting there at 4,200 RPM, wrapped out, towing that trailer up that grade, up at elevation and all those things. But, when you look at the Hurricane, it's sitting there, 3,300 RPM, and that's what it stays in, that low RPM. Even daily driving, it's shifting at 1,900, 2,100 RPM. It's not wrapping out like gas engines. And I think that's one of the reasons it pulls me in as a diesel guy. And you see a lot, like I've seen some comments here about people trading their HDs and their diesels in and getting the RHO. So anyway, it's just that it feels good to me towing.
Yeah, and I know, Barry, that you have airbags on yours, and Tim, you don't, but I am very impressed on how minimal squat the truck also has in a stock form compared to like a Tundra. I mean, anyone that puts any sort of stuff behind a 3rd-gen Tundra, those springs in the back are so soft, even on the TRD Pro, that it just squats a lot. And I'm not sure if that's also due to the fact that it has actual live valve suspension, so maybe it's actually able to stiffen up the shock itself maybe a little bit more if it knows that it's towing, maybe stiff, like more fluid going through it, trying to hold it up, stabilize it. I'm not sure, I don't tow that often, but that is one thing I want to note is like it's very much like some people say a dual hat truck, but this is like a 3-4 hat truck. I mean, it's a date night truck if you want, you know, because it's really nice inside. If you want to have fun in Florida and go off road, you can, and then you guys are towing with it too. That's not many trucks can be like 3-4 hat trucks, which is pretty cool.
I agree. And you know what's funny? Coming from two or three Gen 3 F-150 Raptors, they definitely squat more in the rear. There's no question about it. And my Raptor R, like I was saying earlier, like if I had the ability to own 2 trucks, that I could have one as a tow truck and one as a toy truck, the Raptor R or TRX to me would be a better second truck, because then you get that visceral, crazy experience of that, you know, raw V8. But if I'm going to use a truck for towing and doing day to day, I will take this Hurricane over the Raptor R, over the TRX, because it tows better. It's not blasting your eardrums. The Raptor R was the best engine braking gas engine for towing I've ever experienced. It was a beast for engine braking. But going down the highway, pulling our same trailer, it would hold about 500 to 1,000 RPMs higher than our RHO, and it was getting 6 miles per gallon, whereas the RHO was getting like 9.5, 10. The exact same trailer, exact same highway, and the Raptor R, when it's a sweet truck, don't get me wrong, but when you put it in quiet mode, it actually doesn't work on the Raptor R when you're above 2,700 RPMs, whereas the standard Raptor actually does allow quiet mode. So I actually prefer the regular Raptor over the Raptor R for towing as well, because that EcoBoost does a little better in that highway towing experience. But yeah, I'm trying to catch up with some more comments here. Here we go.
And I saw the Timberline. Was it not Timber? The what do you guys call those? The
Timber Grove.
Timber Grove.
Timber Grove. Yeah, it was interesting because when Barry and I got together, I'm not that tall, and it was funny because his truck's like an inch taller than mine because of his Timber Grove. But my weight shifting hitch, I was able to get mine leveled up enough that I don't need squat. I actually was gonna do a squat test I've done for years in different towing videos, and I haven't even done it because I don't need to do it with RHO. Like, it's kind of useless doing a squat test with it. Yep. And it dawned on me, I did this years ago, I did this whole towing video, massive thing. I did squat test all these trucks. But to John's point, I don't need to do it. It's kind of a useless thing. I can measure how much it squats, but once they do weight stripping hitch, it's like it goes all the way back up to level.
Yep. And you know what's great about your setup? When I was watching your videos of towing, it's cool seeing, because your trailer is, I want to say 5,500. Is that what it was? 55, 5,800?
Yeah, 52 dry, 7,000 wet. Yeah, 30 foot long.
So it's perfect seeing that difference, because I think that's like the perfect size trailer for the RHO, because you can pull that and not need airbags, and it doesn't look like it's squatting too bad. I have found once you start getting in like mine is 72 dry, 8,500 like full GVW, and I'm pretty about maxed out there. That's where you really see the squat on the RHO. Like, the airbags really help quite a bit there. And then this is another thing to Dave in Canada. So I think I'm up to around 7,000 miles towing or so on my RHO, approximately, between a few trailers we have. And I don't know how to explain this. I talk about it in one of my videos, and I don't want to make this whole video about towing, but I will tell you this. I've towed with every generation Ford F-150 Raptor, including the Bronco Raptor, with airbags, without airbags, on 35s, 37s. And I don't know if it's the weight of the RHO being heavier than the Gen 3 F-150 Raptor, because it's a lot heavier. It's like 600 or 700 pounds heavier. Or if it's the fact that the truck is full-time all-wheel drive, or it's the fact that they run a Dana 60 rear axle, which is a lot more weight and beef in that rear axle than the Ford rear axle. This is the most stable towing stock off-road truck I've ever had, including some of the max tow package. And then once you put the Timber Grove airbags on it, it's by far the best towing half ton I've ever had, including max tow, Duramax 1500s, EcoBoost, Power Boost. I've had them all. And this thing has more stability towing. I've not noticed any issue. Coolant temps, oil temps, I've not noticed anything. I will make a comment though on the braking. That would be one area, not that there's an issue with the braking. I've just found that Ram requires a little more braking pressure, but you can still lock them up.
I have noticed that. It for me, it's a little bit of a mushy pedal, but it's just because it's different. Toyota's is very like, oh, you're on the brakes. Yeah, I'm on the brakes, but it's just getting used to it.
Yep.
And to be fair, I like Dave in Canada a lot, but Dave doesn't like anything new. So you'll find a reason to not like anything.
We got Jason here watching too. Oh gosh.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Jason's gonna make me blush. He just converted to the Ram crowd too. He just got the Power Wagon. That's a pretty sweet ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he uses that Power Wagon.
Maxes it out in the swamps down in Georgia. Yep. So great question by Hector. This is something that I've always thought about. I was curious if you guys, so I've been big into Raptors for over 15 years, whatever, when they first came out. And I think one of the things that really helped Ford get a lot of respect in the industry is they put it in the Baja 1000. I think maybe the Mint 400, I could be wrong on that. But when Ford went and put a stock Ford F-150 Raptor in the Baja 1000 for years, that was a big deal. I agree. I wish Ram would put this thing in the Baja 1000 because I think this would really show the credibility of what this truck is capable of, because we've seen the ZR2 Colorado has been in it. I don't know if the TRD Pro has ever been in it, any of the Tacomas or Tundras. I don't know, maybe John, you might know that. But
yeah,
the Tundra's been in it.
The Tundra has. I'm not sure what class, if it was fully stock or not.
It was stock. Swears drove it.
Oh, okay.
With Ivan. I'm going to Ram event next month. I'll say something to him.
I think it's a great idea. And when I came from the 24 Raptor R has the new third generation live valve shocks with the high speed and compression dampening solenoids. That thing is like incredible suspension. It's an awesome suspension. So when I went into the Bilstein suspension, I'm like, man, I've had the cat's meow of the Raptor suspension. I just pretty much went into it. I'm like, this Bilstein thing it's just going to be crap. And when I took this thing to the dunes, I was impressed. It had great suspension travel. In the comfort zone was smooth. The final dampening zone was smooth. I was going through the whoops at 50, 70 miles an hour, no issue. I walked away and I was like, wow, not bad. And we even compared it to our Bronco Raptor, which we are going to be doing here again. And I was impressed. It was really competitive. And I just dismissed it because it's not a Fox suspension that it would be terrible. But I thought it was really comfortable. Where I do think that the Raptor is better on the street, I think the small bump compliance of the Fox shocks on the Raptor, I think it takes those bumps a little bit better. But I think the RHO is better on the corners. You don't get the body roll that you get with the Raptors.
And the RHO is quicker coming out of the corners than the TRX is.
Yep.
I just think that Ram had a period of time there where they had leadership changes and such, and that's why the TRX didn't go through the Baja. Yep. With Kaniska's back in there, he's doing stuff. Kaniska is a great guy, but you can tell he's a speed guy, right? He liked the Mopar Nights. He likes the NASCAR. He likes the speed stuff. So I'm not sure how in tune he is with, say, Baja stuff. But I'll mention something to him.
I mean, it is cool too because with him back in charge, he's like, "Hey, we're back in NASCAR. We're doing this. We're doing that." So I mean, it may be on their docket for sure.
It may be something to think about. Yeah, but you can just tell he likes like he was like, "I don't play golf. I don't do this." You can tell he's the guy at the lake with the biggest boat. The guy's he's got the one with like 17 engines in the back. He's like he's that dude, right? That's who he is.
That's cool. So, here's a great question, Dave, on the question of head gaskets or anything under boost pressure. Before I answer this question, have you guys had any thermostats fail on your RHO yet?
No.
Have you guys had
not that I know of right now? I'll get it. I'll get it scanned.
He's actually thinking about this question. He's like,
TBD, John. TBD, John.
We'll keep you in the loop, Dave.
Keep him in the loop. But I've not had any coolant issues, and I'm towing under boost for 5-10 hours at a time. No coolant issues, no oil loss issues. I fortunately have not had a check engine light. The only thing I've had, I wouldn't even call it engine related, but I got that where I was telling John earlier where the odometer flashes. It did that one time at about 1,500 miles. Yep. And it was like 1,500 to 1,700 miles. And I looked down, I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I learned it's like this proximity thing. It's never done it since, and I'm at 11,000 miles now.
The CAN bus didn't talk correctly, software, whatever, hardware. Then you turned it off, turned it back on, started. No big deal. I had somebody in our forum had made a comment that he legit said, I went and drove the Hurricane, thought it was great, no dipstick. Didn't buy it. I went and leased a Ford, I think it was, for 3 years. Hopefully Ram fixes the problem, puts a dipstick in, so in 3 years I'm going to buy the Ram Hurricane engine. So I don't see it as them. I don't think they're ever going to fix it. I mean, light duty sales were up for Ram. Ram's selling Hurricanes. Grand Wagoneers are selling. Wagoneers are selling. BMW hasn't had dipstick now going on like 10 years. So dipsticks. I mean, I haven't. I had an issue with the Duramax because it had a known oil usage, and I was doing videos on it, so I was checking dipstick quite a bit. On the Ram, I went over and checked my oil on the screen, right, when I was towing, just kind of see what's going on. And I got to get an oil change. It's been sitting outside for a week or so. I've been driving different vehicles and stuff like that, but I haven't had any concerns about dipstick. I mean, not a concern. I don't know.
You bring up a good point. I just wanted to just chime in real quick. You bring up a good point. If you had a concern of an oil consumption issue, because that's what most people are thinking of. I'm going on a long road trip. I'm going to pull up to the gas station. I'm going to pop my hood and I'm going to check my oil before a trip potentially. This is even better because you can just go in your garage and just hit the accessory button and see how much oil's in it. You don't have to pop the hood.
And I'll drop this real quick. So I agree. I've seen tons of people about the dipstick thing. You have a level sensor in there that's constantly monitoring your oil level. And, one of the things that I guess I'm going to go ahead and bring this up is when you have a turbocharged engine, your crankcase pressure is important and your oil level is very important. Okay. And so, now if you go to some people go to these oil change places, they just throw the oil thing in there. They guesstimate, they overfill them, whatever. These engines are going to be a little more sensitive to overfilling with oil because of crankcase 100%. Pressure and seals and stuff like that. And so one of the main reasons that they did that is so if they overfill that engine, you're going to get a notification in your dash that says, hey, this engine's over full. You need to drain some oil out. And so you're getting constant monitoring on your oil level, which I think is a better feature than the dipstick. But basically for crankcase pressure, I think that's why they did it. It's because they need to monitor that level so it doesn't get over full.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too for maybe some people is just the trust in the electronics. I don't think people care that they can't check it themselves. Maybe it's just the trust in the electronics. But at the same time, on the flip side of that coin, what if something's really happening, right? And you have a dipstick and not all these sensors, and you don't know until it's too late, and then you check it and you're like, oh shit, I was low. Yeah, sorry, I don't know if we can cuss, but like, oh crap, what if it was low? And then you just look and you're like, oh, I guess instead of having all those sensors actually working, and then, it's letting you know ahead of time and stuff. So I'm indifferent about it. I mean, I know how to change my oil and do stuff, but it's not worth my time. I just take it to the dealership. They just do it real quick and I work, and then it gets done, honestly. So.
Yep. And then it's on record. That's why I think any of these new vehicles, dipstick or not, man, I like getting the oil changes on record, because if there's ever a problem, I didn't screw something up, and you're really, when you start looking at the price of the oil filter and the oil, for me to go think around with this, I might save $20.
Yeah. And then you factor in your time,
all this crap. And I mean, I just did a huge job on our Can-Am here recently, every fluid in this. And I got done and told my wife, I'm like, that freaking sucked. Everything about that I hated. I got oil all over the garage, and then I'm worried about getting it on our driveway. So the car guy, you guys seem to love your RHO so much. Does this mean you'll actually keep it long-term, or would be dumping them in a year? I think that's a business question, regardless if it's RHO or not. I know for me, it's always the business decision of what puts the most money in my pocket. I move it when it makes most sense. If I could keep a truck for 10, 15 years and lose less money than what I do, I would do that in a heartbeat. But it typically makes more sense to not do that.
Yeah, I mean, for YouTube purposes, like I bought this vehicle telling my audience that I'm going to keep it till the Tundra refresh, assuming that the Tundra refresh was going to come for 2027 model year, but it may not. It may come in 2028. So like I fully intend to keep this truck for a year, and if I get bonus time with it, then I get bonus time with it. But But yeah, for when using it for YouTube and stuff, you know, using it as tax write-offs, should I sell it, buy a new one that year to save money so the government doesn't get money and do whatever they want with it? It all depends. I definitely like the truck enough to keep more than a year as of right now.
I mean, 100%. Like if I was going to buy a 2026 truck right now, I'm going to buy another RHO. There's no question. Yeah. I still think it's the best value for 26.
Yeah. And I think real quick,
I'm just going
to. Sorry, Tim. You know, if I was going to continue to keep the RHO, and this is just me personally, I would probably flip out of this 25 I'm in and jump into the 26 just to get the 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty. I mean, you know, and you know, I'm sure there's little things that they've programmed, software, stuff like that. So, you know, I think, but this is probably the longest I've kept a truck. And I actually look forward to driving it every day. Like John said, it's the one he's going to pick out of his driveway. It's the same thing in the morning. I've had all the diesels, the HDs, you know, all the very nice trucks. None of those I really look like I wanted to get out of bed and just go drive that truck in the morning. This one, I enjoy driving it every day.
Dude, it's so smooth. I don't know how to explain to anybody that it's just smooth. So, Dave, you question on temperature towing. It's funny you just mentioned this because I just mentioned this on the forum earlier today. When I'm not towing and I'm going down the highway, I'm generally around 181 degrees almost consistently. But when I was towing, I was about 187, and that was at 70 to 75 miles an hour. I never got above 190 degrees unless I was like pulling the trailer into a campsite or doing like some maneuvering at low speed. This thing runs so cool. We just did a towing comparison versus a high output EcoBoost with the 10-speed trans. And that 10-speed trans towing the exact same trailer, I was seeing 220 to 228 degrees just going down the highway. It's like 30 to 40 degrees hotter than the ZF trans in the Ram.
You know, I did a bunch of deep dive in this about a couple years ago, and I talked to lots of engineers because Toyota pulled their transmission cooler out of the 2019 Tundras, and I did a bunch of stories about it. It doesn't matter anymore. The synthetic fluids in transmissions can run up to like 500 degrees.
Wow.
And the people they're like, what about the seals? The seals are fine. Transmission fluids are fine. You know, it used to be these charts. And you can find them both forums. They're like, if it runs over 170 degrees, call your transmission. That was all old school stuff because the transmission fluid was oil. We don't run oil anymore. It's all synthetic stuff now. Synthetic doesn't break down the same temperatures. It doesn't break down the same things. And so really, I think a lot of transmission temperatures you're seeing now are just to make the owner feel good about what they're seeing. I think engineering-wise, it doesn't matter at all. Transmission doesn't matter at all. The stuff. What it does do, though, is it makes a benefit to the maximum towing capacity because the Davis Dam test is J2807 standards. So part of that test is part of going up a grade in Davis Dam, which is over in was it Nevada, part of Nevada, and to get the maximum towing rating, your transmission has to operate and at a certain temperature for certain speeds. Engine's got to operate at certain temperature, certain speeds. So it's all about coolant and how cool that's running. And that's how you calculate your max towing. That's all that matters for that. The transmission can run a lot hotter, but people are so programmed into this old way of thinking that it just doesn't matter.
You know what's funny? You say that about temperatures. One thing I've always liked about Ram, and this has been for 10 plus years, they have always allowed almost all the temperatures you want to see: oil temperature, transmission temperature, coolant temperatures, everything in their
much information.
So much information, and it's always been awesome. I've seen it on my Hemi 1500, 2500, and someone that tows a lot. I like to look at that stuff here and there. And I remember I went from my 2014 Ram 1500. It was just a lease Hemi, you know, whatever, nothing special, Bighorn. And I got into a 2017 F-150 Raptor, and I'm like, where's everything? It didn't have anything. And then I think what it was with Ford during that time period is they run a lot hotter temperatures than Ram. And I think they were worried about the optics that, well, my Ram Trans is at 170, 180, and this Ford's running at 210, 220. And they were worried about like temperatures because Ford wouldn't call it coolant temperature. They'd call it cylinder cylinder head temperature. And I'm like, I've never even heard of this like metric before, because they didn't want to like disclose it as coolant. And it was just a workaround. That was just what I was told, you know, behind the scenes.
I think you give those engineers too much credit.
Maybe. Well, I don't think they're the ones making the calls on that. I think there's someone in marketing saying, don't disclose that level of information. You know, keep it kind of quiet.
Lawyers.
And not to like bring up the check engine light as a joke, right? But like that's just why I was I was just so baffled with that when I got my first one, right? Because I called the dealership. I said, hey, I don't know what's going on with this truck. So because it gives you so much information. Like so much information. I was like, am I just missing a screen for this check engine light? So that's what I thought was kind of strange, is they give you so much information, but like on my Toyotas, when I got a check engine light on the Tacoma, it just gave everything. And then you could even go into the bigger screen and it gave you the fault codes as well, which I thought was pretty cool. But you know, it's just a different vehicle, and you have to, you know, learn that it's just, hey, if it's flashing, then it's bad. Well, cool, but I want to know what's wrong with it, I guess. But I just thought that was bizarre, because like you said, gives you everything, even information that you don't even know what it is. Like it gives you all that. But I just thought that was something strange that doesn't give
What's interesting is they just took that away, because in the TRX, you could pull it up on your screen.
Oh, really?
Codes, you know, IC temp, or if you had any codes coming up, it would show you on the screen. On the dash.
Strange.
I do know there is one menu where if you have a service light, because I had at the very beginning when I got mine, I had an issue with my rear parking brake or parking sensors not working, and there's a wire in the harness bad. It said like, go to dealer, service right on the main display, rear sensors. It was like it didn't like tell you what the code was, but there was a message area.
Yeah, even in the I went to the messages and it was blank. Yeah,
it's probably nothing. It's probably telling you don't worry about it.
Yeah, just put some black tape over it and you're good to go. Yeah.
So Eric is saying you guys are ballers, flipping trucks every 12 months.
Heck yeah.
It's just business.
Do it big. Yeah.
Yep. It's just
I mean, you got. That's the thing. People get mad at me all the time. Like, you know, you got to keep trucks longer to get, you know, reliability details and stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't, because it's bad business.
Yep.
Like it's mindset differences. Like nobody's gonna search for 20. If nobody's gonna search for a 2020 versus 2025. Nobody cares. 2020s are already gone. I always tell them in the comments, like, it'd be stupid for me to keep it 5 years. Well, it'd be great. You do like a 5-year, you know, review at that point. Yeah, I get one video. It's gonna cost me $30,000 or $40,000 in payments to do one video. It's going to cost me, let's see, that's $75,000 in taxes, plus the video. So I'm going to spend $100,000 to do this one video that I'm going to make $1,000 on if I'm lucky in the lifetime of that video.
I've found this out with our Navigator. I try to do these high mileage reviews because I feel, you know, you keep hearing people say they want this. Dude, crickets. I do this, I show 75, I do like maintenance and all this stuff. And I really find people really care about that. They're searching for the latest and greatest.
Yeah. And people are like, I want to see, you know, real life, what people buy trucks for. I want to see entry level trucks. I've done those videos. You know, watch those videos. Nobody.
Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the point too is we work with great dealers. We get, you know, 8 to 10 off on these trucks on average, you know, if not better in some cases. And, you know, what a lot of people don't understand is we buy them. And then, you know, if you put over 20,000 miles on them, you drive them out of warranty, the value drops significantly.
Yep.
You know, in the same model year, that dealer can resell that truck as a less than a year old truck, and it has good value. I think, you know, and I think y'all go through a bunch of them too. And so we don't lose a lot of money when you actually trade that truck back in. You know, I can't imagine buying a $100,000 truck and putting 80,000 miles on it and keeping it in 2 years and driving all of the value out of that vehicle.
Yep. God's Country Overland, any update on when the 2026 build site will be available for public to see and use? Great question, and I just asked the question earlier to some others. I'll keep you guys posted when I find out about this, because I've been wanting to build too. Like, you're having to just talk to the dealer and have them go through this right now. But yeah, you can't do it for a 26 Ram 15 at the moment.
There's not that many changes, is there?
No, that's the best part about it. So that's another reason people should be happy. There's really hardly any changes for 26 other than some color.
No. There's a new sticker. There's new sticker. I got really. I mean, I tell you what, I was on a Facebook group, and this guy got really fired up about it. The drive mode sticker is different. I'm telling you, man, it's breaking news. It's huge. The sticker is different. Massive change.
That's funny.
I got a 25-minute video about the sticker change. Drop it tomorrow.
I need to start figuring out how to do videos on stuff like that then.
It's massive.
So talking about value and resale, I thought this would be a great thing to say, like, okay, coming from Toyotas, John, you've had a lot of experience in that. The big claim a lot of people say about Toyotas is the value. They hold their resale really good versus domestic brands and things of that nature. I'm curious what your experience has been on that. And I can tell you just from what I've seen experience on the RHO, the resale on these things is really good. Even though they're discounted, these things are still holding their value really well.
Yeah, I think because it's like a special truck, right? Like the Raptor. Raptors hold their values way better than like an XLT FX4, you know? So Toyotas, they are holding their value, the old ones. These new trucks, they haven't really been holding their value at all. Granted, they've had their engine issues, turbo issues early, certain creaks and rattles and seats breaking and volume knobs coming off. So, I mean, Toyota's still really working out kinks. So right now, like for modern trucks, like for us, as we're flipping them, you know, every couple of years, or if someone only owns one for 3-4 years, I think that Toyota's right on par with the domestic trucks for losing value. But if we go back 7-8 years, right? Let's look at my 2019 TRD Pro I have in my driveway. I bought that for 50 grand a year ago. Somehow I could sell that same truck right now for 50 grand. But if you look at a 2019 Chevy Silverado, that's pretty done up. I guarantee you, you are not getting anywhere near $30,000 for that truck. So that's where Toyota, I feel like, is holding, is in their old stuff. And the new gens, they just have to prove themselves. But at the end of the day, you know, Toyota doesn't really do these big, massive discounts like you see on TV all the time that the domestic trucks do. So like we were talking on the phone earlier, you're kind of paying a little bit more up front. And then, yes, you have a better resale value kind of in the end, but you did pay $5 grand more maybe than another truck that you could have got. So if the difference is $5 grand for resale, you kind of paid that up front a little bit. So it just depends on how you want to move your money around. But I would be curious, you know, if we're all still chatting in 5-10 years to see where a 2025 Tundra TRD Pro is versus a Ram RHO, you know, or something like that. But I don't see it with the current trucks right now, currently.
It's a great question, because if we look historically at Ram Cummins trucks, dang, these things hold their value really well. I mean, especially, you want to talk about an old truck, go back to a 1997 12-valve Ram 2500 Cummins. Man, if that thing was clean, I bet it'd bring 40, 50 grand. And the truck is like 40 years old. Those are nuts. The Cummins for sure.
Any pre-EGR crap and death and all that for all those diesels. I mean, people sitting on gold with LBZ, LLY, Duramaxes and stuff, all or LP5s too before all that stuff. I mean, like, yeah, if it's under 100,000 miles, those dudes are, some are getting more than what they paid for the truck, like when they first bought it.
Yep. Yeah. So, Tom, here's a great question. What's your experience been with service departments in local areas? Seems if I bought a Ram or RHO, like a Mark Dodge. Okay, Mark Dodge, 1,300 miles from my house, Louisiana. I get this thing home. I've had it a week, and I got to get it in for a wire harness issue that I found. And local dealer by me, these guys were more than happy. They were super excited to see the truck, and they were more than happy to work on it, because guess what? Dealers get paid on warranty work. So they're happy to see the revenue coming in. I've already taken it in there for oil changes. They're happy to get me in. That's my region. I've got other dealers around here. I think they're happy to get it. I know a lot of the dealers by me are kind of bummed that how do some of these dealers offer such discounts? But they're still happy to get the work in. But that's just my region. I'm curious what you guys have seen.
What's up, John?
Mine's been good so far, but it kind of sucks at the same time because like they had a new service advisor a new service manager that got there. I met him, didn't tell him that I had a YouTube. I don't like playing that card at all. Just let it all go organically. He wanted everything to get fixed with the truck, and then he already left because he was really wanting to change things like for the better, and the higher ups at the dealership didn't like it or whatever. So I mean, like. It just really sucks to try to find good working people. It's just like it's an excuse or something after COVID. I don't know why certain people really want to work hard, and then you have this massive gap, and then just people that don't want to work. It's frustrating. So mine has been decent. They fixed the truck to an extent, but there was a TSB like for the alignment, which I didn't know about because my truck came not really aligned. It was really pulling to the passenger side. So my dealership didn't know about that TSB. I had to find it on the forums and stuff. And then after they performed the TSB, they also aligned the truck, but now it's kind of off from the computer. So my self-driving still didn't work, and they signed off on it. I'm like, hey, this still isn't working. So, I mean, they fixed things, but I don't know. It's hard to find good work, I guess, anywhere. So I don't even know if that answers this guy's question. Sorry.
No problem.
I'll make a comment on that too. So mine, I had mine wouldn't hold on alignment, and that was the only thing I had with it. It didn't pull horribly, but it had a left pull where everybody else had the right hand for the TSB. Mm-hmm. And so I did some research on the internet, got on the forums, and I did find out that because we have the self-driving, the hands-free driving or whatever, that after they zero the rack, they have to do what they call a rack reset on the ECM, so that the hands-free driving is lined up with the alignment, right? Because otherwise, if they just mechanically zero it out, and then the ECM's still off 2 degrees or whatever, right? So then it's fighting. So
it'll start and it says, okay, you're good, and then it's like, nope, put your hands on. I'm like,
that's what happened.
Yeah, so I let the service tech know that rack reset was there, and that's one thing. I'm gonna go ahead and make the comment on my dealer here, y'all. I don't really. They literally pulled my truck in. They tell me, hey, we're going to order this part. I didn't even know, but they were like, we're going to order a new rack and pinion and put it on there. They said, because the alignment's not holding, right? And they said, just take it, come back in about 3 or 4 days. And I took it back. They had a loaner ready for me. I drove out with my loaner. They called me back at 4 o'clock that evening and said, everything's good to go. And it drives amazing after they got that little bump fixed. So that's the only problem I've had with mine is the rack and pinion. So.
Okay. Did you notice any different? Does it steer different with the new rack versus before?
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's straight down the road. I mean, and I guess the alignment and him performing that rack reset after that alignment, like it is straight as an arrow. My wheel is straight as an arrow. It has no pull to the left or right, and the hands-free driving is spot on. It used to kind of want to creep on that left line a little bit, stay a little bit closer to the driver's side line. And then after he did that, I guess he recalibrated the ADAS too, for that sensor, and it's dead center of the lane now. So
Rocky, you're not sharing the part of why it broke. You jumped your monster truck with it, right? And
yeah.
Really? I don't know if you knew, John. He's got a legit monster truck.
Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, I was doing some quick research before we all hopped on. That's sick.
So here's a question. When do you anticipate a model design RHO TRX? So if I had to guess, just take an RHO, throw a TRX under the hood, a 6.2 supercharge. The 25 was already a refreshed interior, refreshed exterior. I don't think they're going to do a redesigned truck for probably another, I think it's like 2030, I think is when I heard there's a new chassis or mid-cycle action coming out. So I don't think we'll see much if that TRX comes in a year or two.
Yeah, typically life cycle 7 years, with 3.5 to be the mid-cycle refresh.
Yep.
So you're fine.
So let's see what else. Yeah, I can't find people to flip burgers. Must be super hard for techs to work on. Yeah, sad. Probably a lot of truth there.
I can't get a damn haircut.
Dude, I just get a 3. I've been cutting my hair forever.
I know. I saw your haircut. I saw your haircut. Yeah, you were in Air Force.
My clippers have paid for themselves like a million times.
You were in the Air Force, yes, I know.
Yeah. I still do it. And then I noticed I was the only one
not.
I was the only one not wearing a hat too. So then I put a hat on.
I see you had to jump in there for a minute. That was really funny. Someone even made a comment about it.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Do any of you believe that manufacturers ever offer a V8 option? Yeah, well, General Motors still does, Ford still does, and Ram's about to. I think if it was up to the manufacturers, I think they prefer to make a V8 because it's a lot cheaper to manufacture. You know, it's like the architecture and everything is all set up, but it's been tough to stick with a V8 and meet CAFE standards and CARB and EPA requirements. But maybe things will change a little. Personally, though, I don't know if it really makes sense to in a lot of ways because these new powertrains are so smooth and they're nice. They're just nice to drive.
I don't know. I talk to my manufacturers about this all the time, and they always come back to they're like, you know, the V6. So I got 8 cylinders versus 6 cylinders. So number one, I have less cylinders. Less cylinders mean I have less to worry about. I have 2 less cylinders. I have 2 less issues. I have 2 less pistons. I have 2 less things to worry about balancing. Inline, I have less balancing issues, right? V, you have to worry about balancing, all things balancing together. And then I have an 8 versus 6. Well, now I got to figure out, you know, I can take that 6 and put a turbo on there and give you much smoother power. I can give you better efficiency. I can give you better fuel economy. I can make you towing experience a lot better. The 8, you know, what am I doing here? Now you have less power. You have less fuel economy. You know, it's like you only want the 8 because you want the exhaust note. You know, and you look at the numbers of people that are buying the 6s, and it's like the 6s are selling like crazy. People always they always come to me like, well, you know, Toyota can now do the 8 because CAFE's, you know, the teeth got taken out of it, right? And I go back to the time when they got rid of the V8, and I talked to engineers back then. Toyota could meet CAFE. Toyota's never had a problem meeting CAFE. They build
They sell their credits to other people.
They sell credit. Yeah. How many Priuses do they build, for crying out loud?
Yeah.
Like Toyota wasn't going, oh God, we're paying fines for CAFE. No. Toyota killed the V8 because they were like, the leadership in Japan said, we don't want to have any more V8s anymore. The leadership in Japan says, we don't want to build diesels anymore. Leadership in Japan says, we want to make these changes. The thing with a Hurricane that people don't understand is that the Hurricane is a global engine. Okay? So Stellantis was paying fines on the Hemi engine sold in other countries because you actually pay a fine on the lot to sell V8s in different countries. So if they had a V8 versus V6s on competitors on the lot, it would cost the customer $2,000 more to buy the V8 than V6. So they want to be competitive in a global marketplace. So it's like there's a lot of business reasons in that aspect. I think Stellantis and, you know, Toyota to some degree look at this marketplace and go, why the hell do these Americans want V8s? Like the V6 is superior in all aspects. You have less parts, more reliable. You have better efficiency. You have better power to weight ratio, and you have better fuel economy. And we can sell it globally without having any issues with Euro 6 standards, with European, all different countries. And we can build it simpler because look, in a V8 now in America, right? We have the Ram Hemi. The Hemi is not simple. You have a mild hybrid setup with cylinder deactivation. Right now, we're doing direct injections. Now, you know, we had somebody earlier talked about, hey, you know, we have this carbon buildup. Well, I tell you what, manufacturers always come to me and are like, what is with this carbon buildup online? Like, what are people losing sleep about? You know, it's like it boggles their mind. So we have all these issues going on here, and they're like, why don't guys buy a V6? Like, what's the big issue?
The number's smaller.
Yeah. It's just it's a manhood kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, the sound and the numbers smaller. And I don't get it either because I'm like, well, if you care about numbers, then look at the new horsepower and torque numbers.
Exactly.
Oh, well, that's not, I miss the sound. Okay.
I mean, I love the sound of a V8. There's no question.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But
love the sound of a V12.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. Yeah.
But the performance and driving experience of a boosted engine, I will take it over a V8 almost every day of the week. EcoBoost, I'll take an EcoBoost over in a truck over a stock Coyote all day long, and I would take a Hurricane over a 5.7 Hemi all day long for towing, for hunting, for off-road, all about. I just love the just so chill nature. I like knowing I can be going on the road in this Hurricane, pulling a trailer, and I just step into the throttle a little bit and I watch the boost gauge go up. I watch the horsepower torque go up, and it doesn't have to downshift. Whereas if I was in my Hemi, it'd drop a gear or 2 or 3 to do the exact same thing.
And I know a lot of guys who buy V8 powered trucks who I play golf with, and I play golf with a lot of retirees who never drive it like a V8. They drive it 15 miles below speed limit all around town, drives me up the freaking wall, and they could be driving a 4-cylinder, and they wouldn't even know the difference.
It's funny you say that. My father-in-law was just on a trip to Vegas recently, and they rented a new Mustang convertible. They wanted something there, and he's got a Corvette, and he loves, cool cars. And he gets in this thing, and they drove it all around. They went to Grand Canyon. He's like, what motor's in this thing? He goes, this thing's fast. And I'm like, does it have dual exhaust out the back or single? He goes, it's single. I'm like, that's a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbo. He goes, are you kidding me? He goes, this thing I think is faster than my old Corvette. He goes, it doesn't sound like a V8. He goes, but it really moves out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one thing I'll say about the efficiency, Tim, on the 6-cylinder, if y'all notice on this RHO, when you start it up like cold in the morning, like I don't have to back it out of the garage, leave my door open, right? But it's very efficient. It's not dumping fuel out. There's not raw fumes behind it like there is with the V8s. It burns much cleaner, and you can tell that even on cold startups in the morning.
Does your guys is kind of like pop and crackle a little bit, like on like when it's
start?
Yeah, like at higher RPM before it goes down to idling?
It's not uncommon. I've noticed it one time, but my Bronco Raptor does it horribly. It just did it today. Like it would like shake the vehicle even.
It's like boom, pop, boom, pop, boom, like kind of like a popping a little bit.
Yeah, keep your eye on that. That's something to think about. But
that might be your check engine light.
I was just curious because like I don't know because it sounds great and it's kind of cool because it's like a new like kind of like a souped up truck, right? And I'm completely new to all this, but I just didn't know if I remote started it when it would allow me to, it would just like and sound really throaty and good, but then you just have the like kind of like a pop sound.
Take a video next time, send it to me. I'm curious because some of these new modern engines, I know I talked to the guys at Ford Powertrain and they've told me, and I've heard the same thing from General Motors Powertrain or Propulsion, whatever they call the group now, is that these engines on a cold start now are running almost in an unstable state of combustion because they're trying to get up to operating temperature so fast to meet emissions that you almost get a misfire. And this has been
that's kind of how it sounds.
This has been a big thing on the EcoBoost for a while. And I can tell you right now, my Bronco Raptor with a 3-liter V6 twin turbo, it did it twice today. And like one of the times I was like, man, it like almost rattled the Bronco a little bit. So I'd be curious yours. I know my RHO, like the first like 10, 20 seconds, it'll really rev up pretty high.
Yeah.
It settles in, but
okay. I can't talk about my exhaust notes still.
Yeah, we'll wait for that.
Apparently, I was told by Ram that I'm allowed to talk about it by the end of the month. They said the press release is kind of written, but they're waiting for the final details.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm going to be getting not cool exhaust. Well, it may be cool exhaust, but I'm working with AWE, but like I want to make sure that this is a legit thing that it's supposed to be before I just throw an exhaust on it, take it to the dealership, have an issue, and they're like, "Oh, well, you put new exhaust on it." I'm like, well, it was doing it before, so I just want to make sure.
That's one of the reasons why I haven't thrown any tune or anything on mine yet, because I kind of wanted to see this thing settle into itself stock, because I just don't want any issues. Mm-hmm. And I'm good. And I like some of these aftermarket exhausts, but I've also heard some of these guys get drones on the highway, and I absolutely want no more drone. I want it to sound better, but I don't want to sacrifice any highway driving manners.
Yeah, I don't hear any drone, but I talked with the service manager and like up front, and I asked Tim this too. He said he doesn't notice it, but I hear like not a whining noise, but he says it's the Hurricane harmonics, the engine that I can kind of hear just like in the center of the dash. It kind of like makes a revving noise. Like it kind of matches the RPM, but then falls off sometimes. So I'm not sure if that's part of just the hurricane experience or what?
Interesting. I haven't noticed that specifically. You need to drive that thing up to Michigan, and we'll take it to the dunes and jump it and see if that noise goes away.
Yeah, or something, or the whole truck does. I don't know.
The only exhaust issue I'll say I have with mine, and it's not an issue, it's just that the Hurricanes have it, is there's two flaps in the exhaust. They're metal flaps, and at an idle you'll hear a little rattle every once in a while. It's not horrible, but that rattle is those flaps in the exhaust. And everybody that's put aftermarket on there gets rid of those flaps, and they don't have that little
Do you
rattle.
hear that up front or in the back? Because I hear something clanking up
it's
front.
It's more like mid truck, like right behind the passenger door.
Okay.
Back, somewhere in that area, because I think that's where those flaps are. They're right past the mufflers.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll take a video and just send it in a group or something like that, and you guys can say, yeah, that's normal, or no, John, your truck's effed up. So I'll send it.
And to be fair, my wife's a deaf and hard hearing teacher, and she swears I can't hear anything anyways, so I probably can't hear it. So probably not good for her.
Okay.
So Dave's got a question. The plastic control arms. Luckily, our RHOs don't have that.
Just got to spend the money. Just got to spend the money. Just get an RHO if you don't want
it. It's not a big. It's so stupid. I've been battling that crap all week long. It's a steel plate that has a hybrid setup. It's a really high-grade composite that is actually better than the cheap-ass steel they were using before.
To be honest, like it's kind of crazy because I put 3D printed bump stops on my 6th Gen 4Runner, and people are like, oh, 3D printed, but they're just gonna shatter and stuff. But like the technology of 3D printing stuff or whatever casting that they're using for the plastic of these upper control arms, like Tim said, is actually better than a lot of the rubbers out there that people used to use for bump stops or the hard silicone stuff. I mean, a lot of that technology is getting a lot better, and it's not going to corrode either.
No. So one guy said, I think this is the mic drop. One guy said, if you don't like plastics, then don't get on an airplane.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's 100%.
Yeah. I mean, the new Max, what is it, the 737 Max or whichever version, they replaced titanium with composite. The entire fuselage, the whole barrel of the plane is a composite now. And Airbus is going that same way too.
Yeah. I just think it's
I know it is funny. Like I get the comments all the time, like, oh, the RHO, the high output Hurricane, until they get rid of that plastic thermostat housing. And I'm thinking, what about the LS? What about the LS and the LT engines that have been running plastic valve covers for 30 years, or plastic oil pans, or I mean, there's plastic components all over these things, intake tubes, dipstick tubes. I mean, if you design it correctly, the material is kind of irrelevant. I mean, people said the same thing when the Ford F-150 went aluminum. And what did Ram do 10 years later? What did General Motors, who gave them the hardest time 10 years later? They've all went aluminum. But they can't go as full of aluminum as Ford, because now it kind of look kind of bad.
Is it just the hood, or what's aluminum on this truck?
Hood and I think rear fenders. I think front fenders are a composite. I believe the front is composite. Hood is aluminum. Are the doors, Tim, are those aluminum? I think the doors.
I'd have to check. So the last time I asked,
could get a magnet
most automakers, the way I've remembered it over the years is this: whatever swings is aluminum. So if it swings, so doors, tailgates, hoods are aluminum. And if it doesn't swing, it's usually a mild steel or something. But I did a video back in 2019 with the Silverado, and I did the whole chassis and everything. And it's not just mild steel. Like, there's all sorts of different composite, different steels, and different mixtures and things. The video, I actually got stranded in where were we at? Stranded in Wyoming, that city on the way to the west coast, western side. And I did this video, but I just walked around it, and all these trucks. There's no truck made of steel anymore. It's all a mixture of 100 different pieces of different steels and different steel types. But the one guy, I think it was a GM guy, told me, he kind of summed it up, and I think most trucks are this way. If it swings, it's aluminum.
Good to know.
Well, I'm glad the hood doesn't rattle. Like the Toyota aluminum hoods. Holy crap, Ram's doing it right, dude. That hood is solid. The whole truck's solid, which is very nice to see.
It's so I just watched your video earlier. You're talking about I think it was the Tacoma you were talking about, and you're talking about when your Tacoma goes down the road, like
Oh my
the
god,
hood,
it's
like,
horrible. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's
The-
unreal.
It's
The Land
so bad in
Cruiser-
that truck.
The new Land Cruiser did it. The yeah, there's
All Toyota's new products, the hood freaking shakes on all of them, no matter what. Like there's little spot. It's hard to show on camera, but like how it dips down, kind of where the cowl is at. It just like it. They're so bad, and I don't know how certain things with all these manufacturers, right? I mean, when they go into mass production, it's something different. You know, they're gonna find things. But there's a lot of stuff on the Tacoma and Tundra where I'm just like, how did you guys not see this while you guys were R&Ding this truck or driving them thousands and thousands of miles, and like they never once had a plastic broken seat, you know, or never once a volume knob came off the truck. It's just, it's crazy. It's very crazy.
I took so much shit from so many Toyota loyalists in 22 when I had my Tundra, or 21 when I bought it. Ryan Gregg is on here for the hood flutter. People were so mad at me because I had so many problems with that truck. I bought it, whatever I did. I had the 22 Tundra, and it was not very good, and it still hasn't been fixed. Toyota is having a moment. They've had moments of time, and what's funny about it, when they have moments of time, the enthusiasts, like, they take off their glasses and they're like, the blind just come off and like, look at all these, oh wow, this is, and all of a sudden they start buying other trucks. I've seen it, and then all of a sudden they fix the issues, and the Toyota fans go like this again. And then Toyota has a moment of time, you know, the Tacoma frames rust out, and it's like, okay, it's like, and the competitors have this window of time, and then it's just funny. It's always, you know, 15 years of doing this, I see it time and time again.
Toyota enthusiasts are always a generation behind, but that's how I've seen it on this YouTube, especially as vehicles change, and I'm in the forums, like, they're a generation behind. When the 4th gen Tundra comes out and the base engine is a hybrid 2.4 or something like that in the SRs, SR5s, whatever, they're going to be like, oh, they should have kept the 3.4 I-Force from the 3rd gen Tundra. What were they thinking? Like, they're always a generation behind.
I remember I had the Tundra.
I was going to say, Ryan this is hilarious because, not to be like, oh, John, you went to Hawaii to drive the Grand Highlander. When I did the test drive with the Grand Highlander in Hawaii, I told the chief engineer of that car that the hood shakes on this vehicle. He's like, does it really? And that's insane that it went to production and now there's a TSB for it. That's wild.
Just
all the cars are just
too late in the
fluttered.
process. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I mean, but still, how does it get to that point? You know, like, how did no one speak up and say, yo guys, these cars are $50,000+ and someone's hood is shaking, like, let's fix this real quick? It just,
I mean, how did a $125,000 Ford Raptor R still have a hot start issue? I mean, how do they have corrosion issues? I mean, it's just big, thick bureaucracy and layers, and then no one wants to say no to some upper level management that risking their career to upset someone that we got an issue here, you know? I mean, and this is where what's cool is we get to go and get these trucks and give people the honest reports on these before, you know, they go and buy. And that's, I think, the importance of like us doing these RHOs up front. And I showed right off the bat when I got mine, I had the wire harness issue and they fixed it, and it was a pretty small little deal. And I really haven't had much of an issue, thankfully, since then. I don't know. It sounds like CEL John might have a few he's got to figure out.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope it's nothing crazy. If it's a MAF sensor again, I'm going to be like, okay, something's weird.
Maybe
about
they
this
didn't
whole
fix
intake.
that MAF sensor the last time.
Maybe they just cleared it. I don't know. Maybe going back to, I believe, Tom's question, maybe I have a shitty dealer here. I don't know. You know, maybe they just cleared it out. I'm not 100%.
Yep.
What about? I think we need to talk about reliability.
Let's do it.
I think that's going to always be the key question, right? So, you know, I've been doing this long enough to know that Ram has always had a checkered history of reliability, right? And you know, Dodges are junk, and Chrysler. I mean, it's hard to change people's opinion, especially truck guys, right? So, you know, whatever we know, and that's what we know, and that kind of stuff. And I had a live stream on Tuesday night, and I made the comment. And I want to see what you guys think about this comment. And I said, you know, to me, reliability is a question about your perception of reliability, right? People tend to have rose-colored glasses when they look at the past, right? So I have lots of mechanic friends, and I talk to them all the time. I go talk to 10 of my mechanic friends, and they'll say, you know, the 1980s were the best trucks because we could pop the hood and sit in the hood and work on the things, right? And the next guy goes, 1980s, you kidding me? They made it 80,000 miles. We're taking the heads off and we're fixing those, repairing them, right? And next guy goes, hey, 2000 is the best truck. You know, you could work on those things like crazy. Doesn't ain't turbos or anything. And the guy goes, you kidding me? You know, and they made 150,000 miles, and man, we have to, take the engine out, right? And the guys now are saying, these new trucks are really good. We're getting 200,000, 300,000 miles in these new trucks, and they're doing really well. And other guys are going, new trucks are junk. Look at all these recalls. All these recalls are happening all the time. I had lunch with this kid the other day about these recalls. And he goes, what's the qualities? All these qualities issues. So I took out the NHTSA.gov. I get an email every Monday with recalls. He looks over these recalls and he goes, these recalls are nothing. These recalls are backup cameras. They're the wrong sticker on the door jamb. And there's a recall today about a fuel pump issue with Ford. Well, it turns out it was the tier 3 supplier in Mexico couldn't figure out how to build the jet in the fuel pump to the complexity level that Ford wanted it to be. So they just built it how they could and sent it up the chain. And Ford had no idea. I'm like, was that a Ford quality issue or was that a supplier quality issue? And I said, if you look at NHTSA over the years, recalls, it's been the same. Last 30 years, recall numbers have been the same. To me, it's perception now. The perception now is you go on YouTube, you go on forums, you go on Facebook, you go on Twitter, or X, what do we call this, whatever it's going to be, and you see recalls all over the place, right? Because now we have social media. Google loves recalls.
Yeah.
Because it's make, model, year. They love pushing that stuff out there. So I don't see that recalls are a quality issue. They've gone up. You just hear more about them. And I think your perception is that quality's gone down because you see more about them. I think quality's gone better because now the vehicle, to me, has gotten better. Engines last longer than when I was a kid. But it's all your perception of quality. It's how you see it. And that's why we see these comments. And then the comments become the mob. The mob says new vehicles are junk. You start hearing new vehicles are junk. You're seeing the comments. And then the mob mentality takes over.
Yeah, the internet is definitely an echo chamber right now. I mean, like you said, if you go back in NHTSA and you look at the Tundra when it first came out, that had issues. The refresh in 2014, there was a plethora of recalls on that Tundra. And even on 2021, the very last year of a truck that had been in service for 15 years had a recall on it too. And it's just, the internet's just an echo chamber now. I mean, this current recall with Toyota with the Tundra, it's a big one. And I definitely see it expanding and stuff too into other models. But like, it's just it's an echo chamber. And honestly, Tim and I don't know about you guys, but like we eat it up because it's good content, and it's just more information that has to go out there. But now that's 5, 10, 30,000 people seeing my video, Tim's video, the articles by Car and Driver, everything. It's like, holy crap, like Tim said, like, whoa, all these cars suck. But it's like, it's just more channels of the same information just going out there. But everyone sees 100,000+ Tundra recalls. Oh, they're all junk, Yep.
One of the best videos I've gotten in the last few months is multiple videos talking about the GM engine recall. It just continues to just keep going up and up and up. And I mean, it is definitely right now, everybody really thrives on that. Sadly, the negative energy of like, if there's an issue, you really sadly see that's what's really grown a lot of channels, let alone just content. You see a lot of people focused on that. I mean, look at us four. I mean, I think generally, well, we'll see where John's at. I'm going to be hopeful here, but like, I've worked my truck pretty good. I mean, I've got 7,000 miles towing and 6 days off-roading, and I've been pretty impressed with it so far. I haven't seen the issues that I've seen online, but
yeah, I mean, it hasn't left me stranded. It's just a freaking light, and the video is gonna be like second light in under 2,000 miles. But whatever, and if it gets fixed, it gets fixed. But I mean, my wife, she just went to the grocery store and she took the Ram. I was waiting for a call for her to be like, come get me, but like she just got back home, so she don't care. It's just I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah, like habla no inglés.
Yeah. Hola.
Barry, I covered this in the last video, and I just want to say it. I mean, as a mechanic, I grew up in the oil field and working on stuff, and how many components go into these vehicles? How many people are building the components? How many assembly line workers are putting their hands on this truck? And if you truly ever stand at the output of one of these plants, and I've stood at the Ford, the GM, and the Schaap plant, and I've watched them start vehicle after vehicle and just drive it right off the line. And knowing that, every 4 or 5 minutes they start a truck up and they literally just drive it off the line, and they take it to the parking lot. And dealers, their PDI is really like, it's got fuel in it. They might check the oil in it, right? But that vehicle goes straight to a customer's hands and does 40, 50,000 miles without an issue, and how many of them they build. And that's what I'll say about the RHO is, I feel like they didn't really market the RHO or the Hurricane, is like they did the TRX or anything else. It was just kind of this truck that came out, right? And I mean, this thing's got 4 pistons in it. They did all kinds of work and design on it, and they built this awesome truck, and it was just never marketed. And it might have just been because Ram was changing management hands or whatever was going on.
Totally management, yeah.
But they built a really awesome product, and y'all know for any rollout. I mean, when Ford rolls out a new diesel, right? They have problems, right? The amount of problems that I think that we've seen in these Hurricanes is very small for rolling out a brand new powertrain. Completely new, never tested. I think that they've done a really good job. I just wanted to say that. And you're going to have little problems here and there.
Yeah,
sure. But
you do with every brand for sure.
Yeah.
Well, in my understanding is most of the issues that people are seeing that are plagued on these 25 Rams are not related to the Hurricane engine. It's tied to the new electrical architecture, where there's been some ground wires that have created a misfire. Then that misfire creates an issue that takes out the catalytic converters. And then that's been a big issue tied to the wiring harness. And my understanding is that's been pretty squared away. And then I can say the biggest thing that's frustrated me on this truck is just Uconnect issues, Apple CarPlay connectivity. That'd probably be the thing that just annoys me.
Coming from Toyota, I'm not going to lie, that the software sucks. Like it's not good at all. But Tim had issues with his Toyota software that I never had in any of my products at all. So again, it's user preference. But like today, when I sent you guys that video with the check engine light, and I told you, I mean, the user software trying to go from my wife's to mine and then load up CarPlay, and it was like in this freaking loop, and I'm like, I need directions real quick because I'm going somewhere I haven't gone before, and it's just like in this continual loop. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yep.
Yeah, Barry and I did that. We were side by side with our trucks, and you hopped in mine, checked out my CarPlay. My CarPlay was fine.
Yeah,
and it's weird.
And it's funny, Tim, that's why, remember when we originally talked about this, I said, I don't really want to even talk about the whole CarPlay topic, because this could be a situation where it's just my truck and then others. And we literally looked at Tim's, and we did the exact same thing with my truck and versus his. And mine was slower and more laggy. And then Tim's was like working perfectly. So
well, they made sure Tim's truck was perfect.
Tim got the YouTube special. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I'm 11,000 miles. Actually, it's been really good. Besides my rack and pinion, everything else. I mean, I love the truck. So
no, yeah, it's good. I
just think that, and I just think to myself, like, and I guess I go back in time where 100,000 miles in the truck and vehicles were toast, and even sometimes cars were like 60,000 miles and vehicles were toast, And I think of this Hurricane engine, I'm thinking, I should be able to get 200,000, 300,000. Not that I would keep that long, because whatever's coming down the chain, but I think that other people should be able to get that much mileage out of this truck without that many problems. Now, I don't think that the engines are going to have that many problems long term on an overall scale. Looking at all the vehicles, I always get in trouble when I say this, but if you look at all the vehicles on the road by percentage, I think engines overall are going to have pretty good percentage odds these days. I think it's going to be electronics. I think it's going to be the wiring harnesses. It's going to be turbos, things they bolt to the engine could be the problem. Yeah. And there's going to be, it's always funny because people are always like, well, V8's going to do great and they're going to be more reliable. Well, 6.2 GM recall anybody? Yeah. I mean, it's like, people there's always a lot of turbo fear out there.
Yep.
And you look at stuff, well, hey, Toyota Tundra, 3.4 liter recall. Was that a turbo issue, John? I don't believe that was a turbo issue. No, I think that was
the only turbo issuing was in the very beginning, and that was a manufacturer thing. Yeah.
And so remind me again, what manufacturer has recalled their engine because of a turbo failure?
Yeah, good.
Oh,
Maybe, I was trying to think, maybe like not a recall. I don't know about a recall.
yeah, I
but
can't recall.
No, you can't recall the recall. I do remember the 11 to 14 Power Stroke had a little bit of a turbo issue, but it was never a recall. It was just more like they saw some issues here and there, but I've never, not.
Yeah,
No,
it's always funny because people are like, "Well, turbos never last," and I'm always thinking to myself, like, I've never in my going on 15 years have seen a recall on an engine because of the turbo itself. I've seen recalls on engines because of out of spec parts, which is a supplier issue, right? So GM built 6.2 liter V8 for decades, and they'll build it for decades later, right? They've built V8s for years. They just had a period of time where they had a bad supplier issue. Okay, all right, that happens. If you're a manufacturer and you build engines for 100 years, at some point in your life, you're going to have a recall. It's going to happen. Just the odds are not in your favor. It's just what's going to be. So I don't know. I think of that stuff all the time. Like, I don't think that new vehicles are junk personally. I think that the engineering's gotten a lot better. I talked to one engineer, and I've talked to other engineers, and talked to other JD Power and Consumer Reports and people. Used to be you look for problems out of 100. Now you look at problems out of 1,000. Like the Ford issue today with the fuel pump, they anticipate they will find 8.9 vehicles out of 1,000 will have a faulty fuel pump in the span of 10 years or 150,000 miles.
That seems pretty low. I mean, when you think about it like that.
I did a recall
mode. When that fails, it's probably catastrophic expensive.
They'll still probably cover it because the recall came out. They'll probably cover it for free because of the recall. But it's a slow loss of power because you lose fuel. Yeah. So you'll notice it. Check on the light comes on. Like John's light comes on. You'll notice it going on. Nissan had a recall on Tuesday for 300-some-thousand vehicles. They figure in one engine they're going to find 0.8% of those engines be affected. The other engine will be 1.2% of those engines be affected. So, and the thing I tell you also is that the number of vehicles we're selling now has grown exponentially, right? So we just sold, the industry just sold 16 million vehicles last year. So if you see a recall number that says 800,000, that's because we're selling a lot more new vehicles today than what we did a decade ago. So the number itself is going to be a lot bigger.
And I feel like the standards as well are different than what they were like 40 years ago. And there's more potential for recalls, like you said. I mean, 40 years ago, they didn't have cameras that are a standard now, so that has to be a recall, or certain sensors on a vehicle, or there's just so many more standards for safety now as well, which also feeds into that.
Yeah, and one more point. Speaking to people that don't keep a truck more than a few years, I always think that's garbage, because I talk about reliability on my channel because I look at overall reliability in 5-10 year segments, talking to owners, reliability reports, and things like that. Yep. Like, I'm not sitting here going, "Hey, I keep a truck for a year. I talk about reliability based on my experiences." That's such a stupid comment. Like, obviously, I'm not basing it on my reliability experiences.
Yeah, it's a bigger, broader picture for sure, because you can't own every single vehicle,
Right.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is I see that the biggest frustration is you see the cost of these new vehicles. It doesn't matter truck, not anything. Everything is so expensive. People automatically have this expectation. I spend $70, $80, $90, $100,000 for this. I'm not going to have a problem. And man, it's just not the case. Sadly, it's really not. And like what you're saying, Tim, I think what people need to shift their mind and not be worried about, is it a boosted engine or is it a Hemi V8? Start thinking about how expensive that display is going to be, or that LED projector headlight when it fails at 10 years old, because that's going to be a $2,000 repair. Your display. If you got a Cadillac Q system, a Cadillac user experience,
the OLED or whatever,
$3,000. If your headlight on a Cadillac Escalade goes out, or on any of these projector vehicles, it's $2,000-$3,000. Not an engine, not anything powertrain related. It's the electronics. And that's the stuff that freaks me out, is imagine if that center stack display goes out. Number one, the labor is going to be a beast potentially. You might have 15 hours of labor to get this thing out, and then still a $2,000 part.
Yeah, there's a new thought comments in the channels I've been seeing lately about the poor used car buyer. That poor used car buyer is not going to be screwed over by these the used car market, the second, third buyer, and all the expensive repairs they have to do. I understand that dialogue. I get that dialogue. I understand the dialogue. But I also don't think the automaker is thinking about that guy when he's designing their vehicle. I will push back though. I did look the research up, and the Ram Tradesman is actually cheaper now today than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. That's a good point, Tim. And I actually, in the last video, I think, Rocky, we were talking about this. If you go over on Mark Dodge's website, here's a plug for these guys. They had a 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman quad cab for like $32,000 with a Pentastar. I'm like, dude, when people are talking about an affordable truck, it's already out here. And the thing's got LED headlights, and it's still got a decent backup camera, and it's still got cruise control. And I'm like, so people saying they don't have affordable truck, that's a pretty decent truck for $30,000.
I think it's because people they see the TRD Pros, they see the RHOs, they see the Raptor, and it's just so frustrating because when those big ticket prices come out, for some reason they're like, oh, this new truck's $60,000. I remember when the Tacoma was $40,000 or $30,000. Well, guess what? Still starts at 30, and I try not to be a dick. I work hard for what I want, right? But if you want that truck, then work for that truck, and sorry if I piss people off, but that's what it is. If the budget ain't there, plenty of used cars out there, but like to what you said, you have to search the whole model,
Yep.
There's still Tundras that are $40,000, and that's crazy. A $32,000 Ram, that's actually pretty cool. But like you have to search for it. You can't just look at your local dealerships either if you really want a new truck too.
Yeah,
and the tradesmen are actually some of those that I've rented when I went out of town. You rent a truck and you get a tradesman. They're actually pretty nice. I mean,
yeah,
like the seats are really comfortable. Compared to, I hate to say this, like an XL F-150, right?
Yeah.
That's all vinyl and matte.
Yeah.
That the tradesman feels like a real upgrade. So, I mean, I think they do have one of the best budget trucks as far as comfort.
The tradesman is actually a really decent truck. Somebody said it once on, I think, a TikTok video I did, and I think it really makes sense. It used to be that you take $55,000, walk into a dealership lot, and this is back in 2018, 17 era, and you could buy the nicest truck in the lot. And now $55,000 gets you basically mid-tier or lower.
Yeah.
And that's the frustration. I think the frustration really is that the trucks, we've seen this now, the luxury trucks come up, the sport trucks have come out, and the people's wages haven't kept up for them to buy those trucks they really want. And so the frustration is not about how expensive trucks have gotten, it's that the trucks they want have gotten expensive. The wages haven't caught up, and they can't walk in $55,000. This is interesting. You can't right now, and I haven't been able to, I think I've verified this, you can't walk into a dealership lot for $55,000 and walk off with a crew cab truck with leather seats.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it.
I remember when my 21 TRX, y'all, I think it was 70, it was less than the RHO.
Yeah.
And look at a last call TRX, the stickers for what was it, 119, 120?
Yeah, and easy. And they were getting that all day long.
Yeah, and you look at a 21 used with 50 or 60,000 miles today, and that truck is still worth 65, 70. Yeah. And you're going, that's what you paid for it in 21. So that, like you said in the Toyota thing, that wasn't a bad buy if you kept it from 21 till now, right?
I just wanted to prove this. Someone said like you can't get one. Look at this. Right now, available. Anybody can get these things. Tradesman, $34,260. I mean, they got a bunch of them. You want a Bighorn? MSRP 59. It's 44. I mean, that's pretty good size discount.
I don't think you're presenting.
Oh, it's not presenting?
No.
Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry. Here we go. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, there we go. So here we go. I don't know if you guys can see now, but tradesmen, there's a bunch of them here. $34,600, $34,270. Anybody can get these prices too. It's not like you it's just, this is off their, and then here's like want more loaded Lone Star Bighorn, 59,000 MSRP, $44,000. I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, it is. Here's a legit price truck for 34 grand.
I was talking to some dealers about Mark Dodge, and I guess the theory that they came up with was that they were just selling these things at cost. That the only way they can figure out Mark Dodge is doing this is they're trying to sell volume, and hopefully you're going to buy some accessories right there. You're going to make the money in R&D, not R&D, but the F&I. That hopefully you're going to get suckered in with this entry level truck and try to buy something else while you're in there. That's the best. That's how they're doing it.
And I know this might seem kind of brash, but I just want to say, well, welcome to the real world. That's how sales work. You work on volume. And, instead of trying to be greedy per transaction, try to go in and offer as much value to each customer. And then if they want that extra warranty, they want the floor mats, they want the extra $2,000, this is where I think this is the future of dealership experience, is this no BS experience. You get a great price. And then, I don't know about you guys, but when I get a better deal on a vehicle, I'm then more likely to buy an accessory from those dealers because I got a little extra money left over.
Yeah.
Maybe
or
buy
refer anyone that that is interested in it to that exact dealership versus another one for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
My only issue was it cost me $1,000 to get down there.
Yes.
You didn't use points?
I did points.
No, I saved them for the family trips that we take for.
Oh man,
I have to use the points for that.
I don't know if
that damn flight was.
Dude, I don't know if my American Airlines app is messed up or because I booked it so last minute, but it was only like 30,000 points, which equates to like $30 almost for a one-way. I was like, is this right? And my wife, she's like, you better book it right now before it refreshes or something.
Well, because they live, they're in a no small town. I mean, it's a small town airport, and it's like, it's fine, but it's like, trying to get there was a bitch.
Wait, did you fly into Lake Charles or did you fly into like Houston or New Orleans?
I had to fly to Houston and then into Lake Charles.
Yeah, Houston, Lake Charles.
Yeah, I would do that next time because I flew into Houston and then they picked me up, which is like a 3-hour drive. In Houston, flights, man, were expensive. It was like $400 or $500 for a one-way flight from Detroit direct.
It was either Houston I flew into or Dallas. I can't remember. But yeah, it was one of those connectors to Lake Charles.
Houston,
yeah.
I don't know that too many people have an experience of buying there, but it's just, it's a dock fee, and that's it.
It was by far the easiest
simple
ever.
5-10 minute purchase with a small dock fee, and then anything else you want you can add to that. But they're not. It's the easiest. Yep.
Somebody asked me. They said, "Is there a Chevy dealership like them?
Yes.
Is there a Ford dealership like them?" And I'm like, I want the names because if I would pimp other brands all day long because I buy other brands all the time. But yeah.
So in 2018, we went to a GMC dealership down in St. Louis called GMC Laura or something like that. Most monstrosity of dealership I've ever seen for vehicles on a lot. Huge. Now, I don't know what they're like now, but 6 years ago, when we got this Canyon, I think it was a Canyon. That's the GMC version of the Colorado. Yeah. Their pricing was like the straight pricing, like Mark Dodge. We didn't need employee price. You didn't need any of this stuff. And their prices were like $5,000-$6,000 better than dealerships by me. And I didn't have to get like supplier discounts. I don't know if that GMC Buick dealership still does that. Ford, I'm still looking. There are some pretty decent dealers like Varsity Ford. I know in Michigan, these guys do pretty good on Raptor stuff. They're pretty fair, but I don't know specifically on that brand. Toyota, this is arguably Toyota is the most painful experience for me. It's like, it's so arrogant. I can't handle it.
If one thing besides changing their vehicles and not listening to their enthusiasts as much as they can, because like Tim said earlier in the live stream, Japan controls, unfortunately, a lot of North America. It's going to be the dealerships. I mean, there's no reason you should have $10,000 over MSRP on a 4Runner or a TRD Pro. It is not
unreal.
It's not that special. I mean, cool. It's a cool car. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not that special.
Not just to beat Toyota up on that too, but it's like today looking at, I'm a Ford guy. I've always been a Ford. Probably Ford's my number one, right? This Raptor R thing and the Super Duty thing from 2 years ago, it just burned me. I mean, I just
totally get it.
I saw today an ad for a Raptor R for $198, and I was like, that's just unreal. And it's one of the closer dealerships, in South Texas, and it's just like,
Down
I
by
wonder if they're just trying to capitalize that they're the only truck right now. Like, I am curious if when the TRX comes back out, what that will do for Raptor R's. Unless it's just a totally different mindset and different clientele, but I mean they're around the same price.
So
I've
Raptor
heard
R.
of this Granger Ford. This guy's saying Granger Ford in Iowa. I've heard of this Granger Ford too.
Oh, good. That's a good one to know. Raptor R is a unique one. I had mine. I waited for a long time, got it right. The market has dove hard on the Raptor R. I've seen that market drop $60,000 in the last year. They were bringing consistently a year and some change ago. Those things would bring 160 to 190. Now,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, now, I mean, just yesterday I was at Bob Maxey and Howell, and a 25 Raptor R showed up, white, and they sold it for $10,000 over MSRP. And I had another dealer reach out to me recently and say, hey, we got a white Raptor R 25 available. We'll do it at MSRP if you're interested. They don't know me from anybody else. It's not like I'm like trying to use any influence. No. And I'm like, I'm good. I've had that experience. It's fun. I feel like the RHO gets me there. Doesn't have the sweet supercharged V8, doesn't have that suspension, but I'll take the $40,000 less. You know what I mean? And the better fuel economy and the way. Here's the other thing for me. It's the way nicer interior. I mean, just Ford is so far down on the interior versus the RHO, sadly. If Ford can ever get to the interior comfort, quality, hands-free driving, massaging seats of Ram, I think that would really help them a lot.
Yeah, and for the price point, there's no reason. The Raptor R today, guys, would be sitting in my driveway.
For sure.
If it had hands-free driving, if they had the Blue Cruise, and if they had the power up, power down tailgate.
Yep.
And if they had a
it doesn't even have that.
No.
Well,
digital rearview mirror is the other thing. And massage seat. I mean, just they don't have any of those things for that price point.
Yep.
And that's why the RHO, we talk about, you get all of these things for this, for a truck that's 84 that has all those that are level 1 basically with everything on it. Yeah. You can get those trucks for $5,000 to $10,000 off all day. So you're looking at a $74,000 truck. You can Raptor R's you could have 2 RHOs.
You could have 2. Yeah, for sure.
With half the features.
Yep.
I mean,
I gotta be honest with you. I ain't getting up my massaging seats anytime soon.
Oh, they're amazing. They're awesome.
John was texting me before. He's like, I don't know about this level 1 group. I'm like, I don't use the passenger screen very much. We use a little bit on the road trip. It's okay. We kind of use a little bit. Massaging seats. He's like, well, I don't know. I'm like, massaging seats.
They're definitely worth it. The massaging seats, the power tailgate, which I like, the inverter in the back, which you can upgrade that with the Zero package, I think. But I don't know. It's such a nice interior in that truck for sure.
Yep.
The thing we're not talking about, and this is kind of rumored, is Chevy's talking about really doing something with ZR2.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about really taking that ZR2 and actually really going after it. There's speculation about supercharging it by really getting after the Raptor R stuff. I mean, I know the next generation Silverados next year. The next generation of the V8s are already getting into production as far as the plant.
Cool.
They're doing some. It'd be interesting. It's like we've spent a lot of time talking about Ram RHO, Ram TRX, Raptor R, Raptors. It's GM is like, imagine all the money they're losing.
I saw a render of one, and it was not a joke, but like they said, well, it's the Chevy Meteor, right? Like, because the Meteor killed all the dinosaurs, the TRX, the Raptor, and all that stuff. Yeah. I saw that on Facebook. I was like, that would be pretty cool if they just named it that, to be like the top dog.
If they my thing is like, if you're going to enter into that game, don't just put Multimatic shocks on it. Make it long travel suspension and do it right. Like, do it real, like hardcore, or go the other route. Maybe they just want to do like a sport truck that's like standard suspension travel, like lowered down a little bit, maybe better handling on the road. But I want an off-road truck. I don't want a standard travel suspension with Multimatic shocks. I want 35 supercharged V8 maybe. Or maybe it's these new small block engines that's coming out. They're going to be awesome. I have a feeling, though, from the sneak pictures I've seen of that, when I looked at, I scoured those photos on the new ZR2. And I'm like, all right, you could see it's got 35s. You could see the Multimatic shocks. But the body panels look standard width. which then tells me it's probably not an extended travel suspension truck. So, and if we think about it like this, we come back to value in RHO. If you look at the pricing of a new Silverado 1500 ZR2, and you compare that to an RHO that's insanely expensive, it's more money. It's probably 10 grand to 20 grand more. And it's got, I think, a 6,000, or it's like the tow rating is insanely low. It's like 6,000 or 7,000 pound tow rating and like 800 pounds of payload. It's got like half the payload of a Ford Maverick.
So a quick side story about that. I remember back in, what was it, 16 or something like that, when the ZR2 Colorado came out, and we were cheering them on at the LA Auto Show, and they brought it out as a they brought it out as a teaser model, whatever. Next year they launched it. Well, I got to know the engineers pretty well at that program. They launched it. Here's what happened. When GM shut down Hummer, they lost all the engineering that did the off-road trucks. And so they only had one guy left over from the Hummer program. So when they launched the Colorado ZR2, they take the engineering team, go out the Rubicon Trail, go out to Moab, and teach the team how to off-road.
Wow.
And teach the next generation engineering team. So that's why GM is behind the 8 ball on getting these vehicles coming out, because they're bringing this next generation of engineering team up and actually teaching them how to off-road, and they're bringing in new blood and getting these new engineers up into this new blood of learning off-roading stuff. And then GM's gone through different periods of time of layoffs and issues at the company, and so they've lost some engineering, they've lost some engineering talent, and they've lost some of the people that are really driving the program. If you look at, I've always said this, I tend to look at things a lot differently than other people do, just because of who I am. But if you look at Ford is so funny because Ford's got like the Yankees lineup of hitters. They just take chief engineers from they've all been chief engineers of their programs. Just, oh, you want to do this truck this time? I did the truck last time. They got all these guys on the bench, right? Ram has the consistent same engineering team they've had for the last 15 years. That's why the trucks have been getting more reliable. They've been getting more better each year. There's not been many changes. They just keep better. The guy that was on the Hemi program was the chief engineer for the Hurricane. So they've had this lineage of engineering talent they've kept in-house. They've gotten better and better. Chevy team is all over the place.
Well, the cool thing about General Motors is if these guys ever decide to do things, they can do amazing stuff, because I think the Corvette, when we talk about value,
just going to say, look at the ZR1.
The Corvette is this new mid-engine Corvette is incredible value. It's a game changer. And the ZR1, I am just waiting for the numbers to be released on the Nuremberg Ring, because if these guys get in the 620 range in a production vehicle, that, I don't know if you guys follow like Nuremberg Ring times. Mm-hmm. I got a chance to ride on the track like 5 years ago. It's so cool. And that's the true performance track. It's not 0 to 60 quarter mile. This is a real performance car track. And if these guys get in the 620s, 630s, that's unbelievable for a $200,000 car. Absolutely incredible.
And what happened with the Corvette? That chief engineer was the same engineer for about 15, 20 years. They've had the same engineer. That's what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep. He just retired. He just was the same deal.
That's awesome. I was just going to get this. This guy's asked this question a few times. Great shows, guys. Thank you for your guys' thoughts on a Longhorn versus King Ranch. I'm waiting on a list for a GX 550 and told 6 months. I'm tempted to get a Ram Longhorn with the Hurricane over the Hemi. The Longhorn is awesome. I think as far as interior versus the King Ranch is my opinion. I'm a huge King Ranch fan. I love that supple, I call it like that Rawlings leather. But the Longhorn, it kind of does it up in some ways a little bit more than a King Ranch, like with silly things like I think like Ram's floor mats. This sounds silly, but their Longhorn floor mats are just awesome. They got like that carpet with the rubber. It's just amazing. We've all talked about this Hurricane over Hemi. I know what way I'm going. It's an easy question.
I go Longhorn for sure.
Yep.
Hurricane for sure.
Yep.
And you got a comment about the Scout tear up on the
oh yeah, that thing's sweet. I'm so excited about Scout.
I love
I'm not anymore, honestly.
No,
I'm not, because of the EV tax credit going away.
The EV what?
Tax credit.
Oh, so see, I always was interested only in their hybrid because that range extender model, I feel like, is just the ultimate like non-anxiety EV. That was just for me though.
Right, but I mean, some of the infrastructure credits, some of the EV credits, stuff like that. So whenever globally EV credits gone away, EV market's gone.
Okay.
And so it's gonna be really hard for any startup to get going.
Bummer.
And Scout needs
Slate then.
Slate is
We'll
in
be in
huge trouble.
Slate's
in big trouble. Scout's in trouble. Whenever EV tax credit goes away, China did it, and they did it away for like 3 months, and 3 or 4 months, and then they were immediately brought it back because their sales just go. So any startup right now, I think, is in real trouble.
It's too bad.
I think it looks cool, but
it's awesome looking.
They should have had a gas option.
Yeah, well, they got that the Scout Harvester. The Harvester is their range extender version. I don't know if you guys are familiar.
Range extender, yeah, but they have that issue. We also have issue with the China ongoing trade issues with the magnets and the rare earth minerals. China's being really frustrated about that. Even in getting the U.S. production of that going, even if we got that going tomorrow, we would need to somehow magically spend about, what was the estimate? It was like $1 trillion, and to get even close to the numbers that China's producing. And we'd have to build factories overnight. I mean, it's just the madness trying to get that going. So there's global trade issues going on. I mean, I'm seeing brands having issues even building battery production right now, getting graphite as a part of their batteries. I have a lot of concerns with EV tax credit, reduction in infrastructure spending, and the change in administration and the new passages of bills. Startups are going to have a hard time, and the overall mood in the country for EVs and new car companies. Having Volkswagen backing up Scout is going to be good for them. Having Amazon money behind Slate is good for them. But think about that. That Slate truck just went up $7,000 in price.
Yeah,
because they were counting on that thing being $20,000.
I knew it wasn't.
And in the marketplace, it was going to transact for about $34,000, right?
Yep.
Because anybody's going to be like, "Oh, I want a radio. Okay, that goes to $500. Oh, you want a mirror? Oh, that's $250. You know what I mean?" And then so the $7,500 credit goes away, right? And then all the state money is going to start getting dried up, right? And so it's just, it's going to be hard to see. It's hard
right now.
Hard for me to see.
I tell you right now, I really hope Slate makes it, because if they're successful, I hope it reshapes the automotive industry, because people have been screaming forever. They want this basic vehicle, and you want to you build off of it and keep it in your family, and you want it to grow. I think it's awesome. I mean, I think it's an amazing idea. I hope they're successful with it. And then David mentions, do you think the Ram Charger will go away? I hope it doesn't, because I think the Ram Charger, for someone like me, I know someone made a comment earlier, say you don't use a truck without using a truck. I'm like, man, I don't know how to use a truck more than what I do. I jump it. I pull trailers heavier than what it's rated for, and I use it. But the Ram Charger for my needs is awesome. It's going to have performance towing better than a diesel. I don't have range anxiety because you can just never plug it in, and it's going to tow. I just think that Ram Charger, that's a truck. If Ram prices it right, well, absolutely, they're going to dominate the market. I really believe that.
It just got pushed back another year, and it's going to be delayed further because the pricing is not going to be coming in because of the rare earth tariffs.
Yeah,
and it's going to have problems getting the pricing right, because we're in all this stuff going on in the world.
Yeah, well,
it's just too expensive. The technology is too expensive in it, and Ram knows it. I mean, it's a cool idea, but it's just, we're gonna have a hard time getting that thing in the marketplace for the right price point. I can foresee the Ram Rev getting killed off completely because they can't get the minerals to build it. I can see the Ram Charger getting pushed back furthermore until we can finally get enough production to bring the price down, because they know if they launch that and it's not anywhere near the price point it can be, it's dead on arrival.
Yeah,
and it's just business. It's just business.
I don't know why anybody would get into making an electric pickup truck right now unless it's wicked cheap, because if we look at what's happened, the market's tanked. I mean, Tesla Cybertruck is what, like 5,000 units sold or something? Like they can't even sell those. Those things are sold. The Lightning only sells because you can lease a Lightning for like $300-400 a month, which is a great price. And honestly, I think the Lightning is an awesome truck if you don't need to tow or anything like that. I mean, it's a nice truck. But I think I'm not anti-EV. I think everything has its place, and I love options.
Yeah, I love options too.
I look at an electric truck. I'm going to buy a truck as a truck. It's like purposely buying a diaper that you know is going to leak. I'm going to go put a diaper on my kid, and I'm buying the one that's going to leak. It's like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, an electric truck has no range. And if you do get one like the Silverado, which has really good range, it's a $94,000 truck to get that range. And then when you go to charge it, even if you have reduced kilowatt hour charging, I did the math, it's still like the equivalent of like 10 miles per gallon or 15 miles per gallon in a gas truck. It just, the math doesn't make sense.
I don't think I've ever heard that analogy.
The leaky diaper?
Diaper.
Wow, it's like you buy a truck to do truck things.
No, I understand the analogy. I'm just that's a visual image I didn't quite put together.
Well, it's because I remember when my kids were in diapers, how much it sucked when they leaked, and I'm like, man, there'd be nothing that pissed me off more than buying a diaper that I know leaks immediately.
Huggies, man. You could buy the Meyer crap, man. Come on.
No, dude, I go to Costco. I got the Kirkland signatures.
Oh, come on, man. What the hell? No, I love the Ram Charger idea. I really do.
Yep.
If I'm Tim Kuniskis, I'm nervous as hell because of the global politics going on right now. I canceled a rev.
Yep.
Because the problem you have is you have supplier contracts. So as soon as you sign those supplier contracts, those things are set in stone. So you sign these supplier contracts at certain limit, right? It's written in numbers. You have to. There's your numbers. So if something changes tomorrow, and a tariff goes up, then you're on the hook for that number. That would scare the bejesus out of me. So if you and I made a deal for $5, and then the next day the president said, "Hey, it's going to cost $10 now," but you and I have this agreement, that scares me. Right now, there is a fight going on. I have it on my. I have a notification going on. There's a lawsuit between two suppliers. One, I think, in South Korea, one in the United States, and next tier and somebody else over some parts. They're suing each other because tariffs went up because their contract did not include any price changes for tariffs. And so if I'm going to build a new truck that requires overseas minerals or overseas parts like magnets, which is a key part to the Ram Charger, I'd be very nervous to sign any supplier contracts.
And Tim, this is the reason why I am out of the automotive industry. As someone that worked in the automotive industry for a tier supplier for over 20 years, after going through COVID cost increases, I'm like, dude, this sucks.
Yeah,
you're going to have to go put 25% increase on a customer that has a fixed price that they can't raise their price to their customers. They have to eat that margin. And then they're like, all right, screw you. We're going to replace you with your competitor. And then now you're trying to win new business moving forward. I'm like, dude, the automotive industry right now, guys, I can't even imagine how much it sucked to be in the supply base because all the stuff that's going on would just make it really tough and challenging to win business because if the people don't understand in the automotive industry, if you're a supplier, dude, you don't make, but like most of these companies at the end of the year might make 5-10%. So even if they make 20% on a program, if something changes, a raw material goes up 20%, your margin's gone. Because Chrysler probably would say, sorry, bite your luck, we're not going to approve this price increase.
That's why everybody talks about, like, should I buy this year or wait next year? I'm like, man, I'm not waiting anymore because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Like you want to wait another year for a new color? Are you kidding me? Like if I want to buy a truck today, I'm just going to buy a damn truck. I'm not going to wait for a new color, a new option, a new sticker. You want to wait for 26 RHO for a new sticker? Have at it, because that price may go up. Remember the Maverick was supposed to be $20,000? Now the Ford Maverick is what, $26,000?
26, 27, yep.
And you were like, oh, I'm going to let them work out the bugs. Well, good job. You just spent $6,000 more. Let them work out the bugs.
Yep. Oh, man, it's a tough time. I tell you, I feel bad for anybody trying to buy a vehicle right now because it's tough. You know, you want to go lease something, it's expensive. You want to go buy something, it's expensive. And then you have problems with it. And you get a check engine light. It's a really, really tough market right now to buy anything. And everything's expensive. I don't know. I would just tell people, just get the best deal you can. If you follow logic, like what Tim said, I think there's a lot of truth in it. Next year, the vehicles might be 5%, 10% more expensive. Who knows? Some supply shortage. I'm of the same belief right now. If I'm gonna buy right now, because I think it's probably going to be more expensive a year from now or two.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, it's been 2 hours, guys. This is awesome conversation. We're targeting an hour, maybe an hour and a half max. I didn't think it'd go this long. So thanks for everybody, sticking
Sorry.
Yeah.
I want to say this real quick. Go test drive an RHO if you haven't driven one. You'll see what we're
For
talking
sure.
about, y'all. I'm an HD person. I bought Ford Limiteds. I've bought King Ranches. I bought GM Denali Ultimates. Y'all, I only bought that truck for a 3-month period because I was going to do content while I was waiting on my HD order. And when my HD came in, I actually looked back at the RHO when I was trading it in, and I've never regretted getting rid of a truck. And y'all, the whole time I was building my HD, I looked back and said, I'm going back to go get that half ton. I called the dealer back and bought the same truck back because
Hilarious.
I loved it that much, and the driving experience was that. So, I don't get paid by Ram, y'all.
Yep.
I just being
Yeah.
100% honest. If you're looking for that in between truck and you can kind of squeeze yourself out of an HD, just go test drive one.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
What do they say? Absent makes the heart grow fonder, and that's what you needed, Rocky. You needed to walk away from it a little bit and see it come back.
Yep, that's it.
Hey, and by the way, if Ram's watching and you guys want to pay us, we're probably.
Oh yeah, I would.
I'd love to take some money from Ram.
I wouldn't take any money at all.
Yeah.
You guys take the money. I wouldn't take the money.
Yeah. No, I'm just teasing. But no, thanks everybody for watching. This was great, and I hope it's informative for you if you're on the market looking for RHOs, high output hurricanes, whatever. Lots of great channels now talking a lot of good content on these things. So I think we'll sign off, everyone.
Sounds good.
See ya.
Later, guys. See ya.